Guardians, what's going on, guys? Your boy Sly here, and thanks for checking out another Sly Nation Destiny 2 video. So, I've taken part in tons of conversations about the new subclasses coming to Destiny 2. Everyone is absolutely fired up to be able to get their hands on all of these new abilities, not to mention armor and weapons. But I've also received quite a few messages about the Sentinel Titan, who I lovingly called the Shield Dancer. Turns out there are quite a lot of videos out there pushing speculation as truth, which makes things, even more confusing. So what I'm going to try to do here is answer some of those questions y'all have sent me on Twitter or Facebook, while just doing a general overview about everything that we know about the Sentinel Titan so far. Now, of course, I will have a complete detailed subclass review up for all the classes when the beta drops here in a week's time. So definitely keep an eye out for those, because some of this will be purely speculative. Only a small part, but it's still speculation. So it's important to keep speculation aside as a possibility rather than a prediction, because right now we simply do not know all of the finer details. So with that said, let's take a look at the new Sentinel Titan in Destiny 2. First off, all of this gameplay is from the month-long IGN First videos, which have been releasing just about every day to every other day since GuardianCon. We saw footage of not only the Sentinel Titan, but the Void Warlock as well, which I'll talk about in another video. All of these videos were to show off the new revamped control game type in the Crucible, so you should definitely check out all of the originals, which will be in the description box down below. They're not only awesome to watch, but they also get you that much more hyped for what's to come. So the Sentinel Titan, that's pretty much Bungie's answer of creating a multi-purpose super, and guys, I think they absolutely nailed it. While Destiny does not have, the Trinity-style gameplay of MMOs, these new Destiny 2 supers and abilities kind of shove them towards that direction. The Titan, which is quote-unquote, the tank of Destiny, now gets one super that has supportive, defensive, and offensive capabilities. I mean, there is no other super that we know of in Destiny that has that kind of versatility. The versatility of the Sentinel. So before we had the right information, actually many of us thought that the Ward of Dawn was added to the junk pile. It was very simple, yet an extremely powerful super, and you can see why in just about every raid. So with Sunsinger getting the boot due to its own powerful ability, which was Radiance or Self-Res, most of us, including myself, thought the Ward of Dawn was done for. Because the new Titan, it had a shield. It can block. No other supers have two different versions, of the same thing. Well, not that we know of course. But the Ward of Dawn is indeed coming back, and from what we know and seen so far, it's not a separate ability on the skill tree. You can choose what to activate depending on the situation that you're in. So let's take a look at this gameplay video. We'll slow it down to get a closer look. Now, most of us have the super bound to left and right bumper, so I'm going to be referencing those. I myself, I play a bumper jumper, so it's bound to A. But in any case, notice how the Titan does this kind of shield summon kind of thing. Right before he pops a super, he squats down, thrusts his arm upward, and then the shield appears up in his hand. You do this simply by pressing left and right bumper together, like you normally would. However, to trigger the Ward of Dawn, continue holding left and right bumper, and if you've held it for long enough, instead of a shield spawning, you'll drop a Ward of Dawn instead. If you look closely in the animation, you can see that it actually starts off the exact same way. And right as he's about to throw the arm up, it then quickly changes. He spreads the arm left and right to the usual Ward of Dawn animation. It almost spawns a shield, but instead drops the bubble. So that's how the super works, guys. Quick press of the left and right bumper to activate the, the Captain American, Guardian American shield, where you can throw it, slash it, do the shoulder press, all of that stuff. But if you long press the same buttons, you'll drop a Ward of Dawn instead. So there's one question answered. No, you cannot drop the bubble in the middle of a roaming super. It'd be awesome, but that's just not how it works. Now, keeping with the whole versatility theme, if you choose the shield instead of the Ward of Dawn, you have a couple of different attacks or defend options here. Just like blocking with a sword, holding left trigger will prop up the shield's defensive posture, and it will give you a forward-facing barrier. We're not quite sure if it's super proof in PvP, but it can withstand a ton of damage from what we've seen so far. Next, you have the option to throw the shield as well. Now, it seems that there might be two different options on how the shield reacts to enemies or the environment. Because in one area, you can see the shield bounce off multiple enemies, kind of doing like this little triangle thing, and then keep going, around the corner. And then next, you see it slice through one single enemy. So I bet it's kind of like a keyhole thing for Golden Gun. You can get the bouncing shield option, which hits more targets but keeps going with less damage, or you can get the straight shot, which deals massive damage to a single target. Again, complete speculation, but something that makes sense. Alright, and finally, the last thing you can do with the shield is use it in the Shield Dancer mode. It kind of acts like, the Aegis shield from the Vault of Glass. You can do this by pressing right trigger to make the Titan perform a sort of shield bash. While bashing, you can actually follow up with a shield swipe as well, which will be bound to your melee button. So think about that, guys. Ward of Dawn or blocking with the shield. Shield bashing or shield swiping, and then you can throw it 2 different ways probably. I mean, that is one hell of a super, ladies and gents. I mean, especially since you can change on the fly and become a supportive character at the drop of a hat, or become an offensive DPS machine. No other ultimate or supers in Destiny have this kind of versatility, and it's going to be a blast to mess around with. Alright, so moving along here, let's check out something that I noticed while taking a closer look. When we start at the part where this Titan activates his or her super, notice the abilities on the bottom left. Now, every time they glow red, that means the player is trying to activate it. Basically, if it's red, that means the button is being pressed. You can see that the shield bash and the swipe corresponds to the action you're seeing in the middle. But notice his next move. The very left ability, which is to throw the shield, is highlighted. And even though it's hard to see, the Titan uses it right here. It's kind of a weird camera angle, unfortunately. But after it's thrown, it's all shield bash after that. So what does that mean? Well, looks like, as you can see here, you can only throw the Titan shield once per super. It's not an infinite shield that you can just continually keep throwing over and over until your bar is empty. We see that it does charge back somewhat quickly, but not fast enough to have another shield be thrown before the super runs out. Now, this does limit its potential somewhat, but it's definitely not bad at all. I'm pretty sure they want you getting up close. That's why they've probably done this. Perhaps there are exotics that, recharge your shield throw after a kill, or maybe even some that give you multiple shields to throw. I don't know, but I can definitely get behind that for sure. In any case, guys, let's move on. Weapons and Blessings of Light. Regardless of what you've seen or heard, we do not have a definitive answer on whether or not they will be coming back for Destiny 2. If you can recall the Warlock's class ability, that kind of replaces Weapons and Blessings. They are a little limited compared to what we were getting from a Titan, but I think that's the point. Weapons and Blessings were pretty powerful abilities, and they went with you, making it even more so. With these new Warlock rifts, you have to continually stand in them to get the benefits, which makes them, not quite as prevalent, but requires more teamwork and coordination to use them effectively. And that's something I can also definitely get behind. So like I said, Warlocks pretty much have Weapons and Blessings of Light from now on. So personally, and I think a lot of other YouTubers agree, I don't see Weapons and Blessings making a return in D2. But have faith. I've been wrong before, and I would absolutely love to see them return, because since we're losing all of this DPS to new loadouts, Weapons and Blessings would be a very valuable asset to have for the next raid, or any, endgame encounter in general. However, there is some good news. The Ward of Dawn isn't completely naked. Take a close look at the bottom left of the screen, where perks usually show up when they proc. Now notice the Ward of Dawn is set. Armor of Light pops up, so the bubble does retain at least one of its old features. Alright, so moving on to the rest of the skills, we know that the class abilities carry forward to all subclasses. So no matter which one you switch to, Striker or Sentinel, you will have the 2 barricades at your disposal. The tall barricade, which you can use to block off line of sight or flanks in the Crucible, and the other is called a rally barricade, and it creates a waist-high barricade that lets you reload all of your weapons instantaneously if you snap to it. It's made to work in conjunction with, that peek mechanic. Whenever you look down the sights and you aim your weapon, you'll actually automatically pop up over cover. It's really in the game right now, but Bungie hasn't actually found a great way to get players to use this type of mechanic. Guerrilla Fighter is probably one of the least liked perks in the game, and that was their best go at it. But in any case, I think having the Titan shield is a much better incentive. Alright, so as far as the rest, we do know that the jumps will probably all be the same as they were in Destiny 1. In D1, they were the exact same across the board for all 3 subclasses. Same with the Warlock, and pretty much the same with Hunters. So I would expect the same kind of jumps we've had with the Striker Titan to be on the Sentinel. As far as grenades and melees go, again, we will probably be seeing the same. In this gameplay, the Titan is using what looks to be a disruptor grenade, as long as the symbols hasn't changed. Now, because of the way the grenades are handled in D2, and since their role has kind of been, pushed back in a way, it could be that the magnetic grenade would see a bit of a nerf in the way of, only having 1 explosion, or maybe even abandoned completely. But I don't know that for sure. Maybe even the Void Wall grenade, that could make an appearance as well. So we really don't know, but we'll have to wait to see. So for grenades, I could see magnetic being replaced, and we could have the vortex, void spike, and then the disruptor grenade. But again, we'll have to wait and see. The only one we know for sure is the disruptor for the Titan. Personally, I wouldn't mind actually something entirely new to use. Alright guys, and getting to the melee, this has also been answered in the gameplay trailer. Disintegrate is making a comeback. When charged, the Sentinel Titan will still be able to get a shield with a charged melee kill. Force Barrier is definitely still a thing, as you can see right here. Now whether or not Gift of Light, War Machine, or Unbreakable returns, we'll have to wait and see on that one, but the big thing here is that Force Barrier is indeed coming back, which is a huge plus. And that about does it, Guardians. That's a more in-depth look at the Sentinel Titan, and a way to answer some questions in the process. Now, like I said, it looks to be one of the more versatile supers in the game so far. Since I have a funny feeling we will only be getting 2 subclasses per character in Destiny 2, hopefully they will blow us away with a completely redesigned 3rd subclass in a later DLC. Again, not confirmed by any means, but I just had this gut feeling we're going to be limited to 2 subclasses. So that's it, y'all. Hope you enjoyed it and hope that you all found out something new. If you're new to the channel, thank you guys for stopping by, and I would love to have you back again, so feel free to join the nation. You can check me out here on YouTube or Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Sly Nation, Sly Nation Gaming. It's the best place to stay up to date on everything Destiny, Destiny 2, and of course, BioWare's new IP, Anthem, which I can't wait to talk about more. Take care, Guardians. Only 5 more days until the beta, and it will be ours! Keep those eyes peeled for more videos, tons of reviews, and beta videos in the very, very near future. But until then, this is your boy Sly, and I'll catch you all next time.